Hey, it's part 2 of our How to Publish Your Book Step by Step. Today, we're going to be talking about formatting and distribution. So stay tuned.
Hi, welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie authors on their journey to publication. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Catane, and I write Christian fiction.
And it's your birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thanks.
39 again. Wow.
I know.
Yes,
So
it is
great.
the anniversary of my 39th birthday.
Yes.
Mm.
I should have said 29. That would have been better.
Well, that wouldn't work because my daughter's like 30 something.
Oh, yeah, that'd be weird. Okay, 39 it is.
I had to have been
Cheers.
at least 5 when she was born.
At least.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
And welcome to Christy and Sadie listening live. We appreciate all of our listeners, whether you catch us on your favorite podcast platform, or if you are fortunate enough to be able to join us at 10 a.m. Eastern. We stream live, and if you go over to our YouTube channel, you can catch us there. And while you're over there, why don't you like and subscribe? Hit all of the buttons and let us know that you're watching and where you're watching from. And we appreciate all of you, honestly. And without further ado, we are going to dive into our topic du jour, which is actually a part 2, because we got into talking about what happens between I finished my book to I am published. I'm a published author. There are many, many steps in between, as we started to discuss 2 weeks ago when we talked about the importance of having an ISBN and what that means for your book. So you'll want to go over and listen to that episode 307, bookmark it for when you're ready, if that's not where you are yet. But if you do have a finished draft, you're all set with your ISBNs, and now you want to know what's next. This episode is for you. So this will be another one that you'll want to bookmark and come back to. And ladies, let's get into it. So we covered ISBNs. Now we have to talk about print formatting basics, right?
Yes. I literally, this is, you might think, oh, this is not something you have to really talk about. Like, yeah, there you just have to choose a size. No, it's important because I actually know an author that thought she knew the size of her books. And she, when she came out with her second book, it was not the same size as her first book and had gone to all that. And she had paid for formatting. So like, this is important. So, how did you ladies choose this, like the formatting size of what you've published?
Well, since my works are so short, there's an issue of just kind of having it not be just a wonky little size in your hand. So for me, it was important to like consider the girth of the book versus the up and down. And so I just kind of folded a piece of paper to just kind of see how it would be perceived. So in my situation, that's how I decided. What about you, Tina?
I just went and kind of researched what's standard for paperback and chose that.
I literally went to the Christian bookstore, to my genre, and I looked and I took this little itty bitty tape measure, and I took it with me and I measured the books that I like, the best selling ones and the ones that I wanted to like fit in with. And that's how I came up with my size. And mine are 5.5 by 8.5. Because I was going to go with 5 by 8 because that's what everything online told me was standard. But for my genre, 5.5 by 8.5 was standard. And so, go ahead.
I just want to say that has to have had changed, because I remember going to the library as a wee lass and the paperback seeming shorter and thicker, as opposed to this taller, narrower that I've seen in contemporary printing. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think so. When we were younger, I think lots of times paperbacks were like what they would call is it to market paper? There's something about market in the term.
Yeah.
So like what we put out are like new release size. So I don't know
Mhm.
about when we were kids, but yeah, it feels like that everything came out in a hardback first, and then when it
Yeah.
came out in a smaller, it'd have been like a home, like a not Hallmark. What is the like? Yeah, maybe like the books that were
Oh,
like,
Harlequin romance?
yes, Harlequin romance. That size, is that what you're talking about? Is how it's a little thicker, a little bit smaller,
Yeah, it's so funny since our genres, I was not reading romance. I was reading like
right?
H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King.
But it was the
But yes,
same size. Yeah.
yes. It was very much small enough to fit into most purses. Like it was
Yes.
very compact but thick.
Yeah.
I had The Hobbit, and it was short and very thick.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I wish we'd have like had like this is just kind of on the cuff of what we're talking about,
Right.
because I could have like brought some examples of some older books that I still have,
Mm-hmm.
and but I do have, oh, you know what? I'm so proud of myself. So here is one of my books. I'll grab book 3. So here's one of my books right now. Here is an original printing of a Jeanette Oak book.
Can you put that in front of the other? Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. And they are pretty close. So again, it probably, let me come farther back. So mine's a little bit taller.
That's that half inch probably.
Yep.
That's that half inch.
Yep. And so mine are a little bit taller than like that. But Jeanette Oak books now are this size, because if I had my hands on some, I have some over there I could grab, and Karen Kingsbury books are about this size. Now, not every single Christian romance is 5.5 by 8.5, but the majority of them were, and the ones that I wanted to emulate were. So that's what I went with. But it's also, I do think it's one of those things that is genre specific. So I think that depending on your genre, you should go do some research. I mean, gosh, twist my arm and make me go to the bookstore again. But go look at some books that you like and see what their sizing is because before you start doing your interior and any of that book covers, any of that stuff, you have to make this decision.
SL Perrin, good morning, by the way. She says mass paperback is the word we're looking for. That's
yes.
the word. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. And Christy says, remember those trade books? The Big Five had all those small books. I remember that, Jamie. So yeah, trade book, that was another term for them, but mass paperback and trade books. Yes. So I think they still do those. I do think that when a book's a little bit older and they're trying to like stretch out, that you can get more sales on it. I think that they do that. Like say, like for example, a Stephen King book that's old, they'll put out like a new cover on it and we'll put it out that way for less than what you get for these nice quality, because the quality of the cover was not as this nice either. Like this is a nice, smooth, matte, thick cover. And I feel like those covers were not that nice, if I remember correctly, but yeah. So my suggestion, my advice is go to the bookstore with a tape measure and measure the books that you want to be standing next to in the bookstore.
Okay, yeah. Tina, did you have something to add, or you're just kind of patiently waiting?
I'm just like, I already have 2 books out in the series, so the 3rd book is going to be the same size.
Yeah.
But my next series, I might do that. But like right now, they're 5 by 8, and that's what I'm going to keep them at. But I feel like that was also the simpler. I used the template. I downloaded the template from Amazon.
But the template you download from Amazon comes from your interior that you create. Did I create your interior?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember, but I do know that they asked me what size book do you want to have, and then I gave them my stuff, and then they gave me the template. Like you had to tell them how many pages it was and whatnot.
So, okay, I think then if you were to go in there, they did ask you what size you wanted first, right?
I believe so. It's been a while.
Okay. Well, when you decide the size, there are some other factors, and it's kind of funny because margins, that's a term we're probably all familiar with as writers. But then there's this word gutters, And when I read gutters, I'm like, are we suddenly talking about bowling? What do you mean? And then running headers and footers. So these are all important elements. Jen, do you want to briefly touch on why they're important? And are they going to be handled for you if you do a template?
So again, yes, if you're using a software like Vellum, which is what I use, or Atticus, which is what some of our friends in our Patreon use. And Tina, do you have Atticus?
No, I don't.
I feel like
I
some of
just
you.
have Vellum.
I think it
I
was.
have.
I think it was Catherine Carroll that was mentioning it. You have Atticus? Is that what you said?
I have it. I haven't used it yet, but
Okay.
I've got it in the wings.
There's also online. We talked about this, I think, a little bit last week, but there's also some online sources that you can use for doing your interiors.
I think
Especially if
Draft to Digital has one too, if I remember correctly.
they will take care of this kind of thing for you. But if you want to do this by hand, which you absolutely can, you can use InDesign. There's lots of other options that you can use for doing it. It's a little bit more work on your end, but you need to know these things. So the gutter so the margins are on the outside of your pages. Let me just pull up my book again. We're just going to keep looking at my book today. Sorry, guys. So your margins are the outside part, the space, the white space there. The gutter is the part in between, which, excuse me, hold on a second.
That's funny because it's even like, imagine if it rained on your book, the water would all go into the gutter of the book and
Right.
then run down yeah.
And when you're looking at this, not actually in book form, but in a flat PDF form, it's much wider than this because it goes buried into here, into where it gets glued together. So those are the gutters, and you need to know how to size those out. Again, these are things you can learn. We are living in a day and age where there is just so much information. All you have to do is how to format my book, or what size of gutter should it be for a 5.5 by 8.5, or a 5 by 8 book, or whatever book size you've chosen. But you got to make sure these are things you have to know when you go into it. Like, don't forget to make sure your gutter is fine. Otherwise, you're going to be losing words inside the glue there.
Okay, so margins and gutters and headers. Oh my. So headers and footers. I know your page number is something to be concerned. Do you put the title of your book and the author across the header? What goes there?
It's, again, this is a style choice. Everybody does something different. So for me, always on the left-hand side is my author name, and on the right-hand side is the book name. I know this sounds funny, but if you are an avid reader, sometimes you get reading a book and you forget who you've read, who you're reading, or what title the book is, because you're in the story. And if you read a lot of books like I do, sometimes I don't remember. There's been times that I've downloaded an ebook and I get into it. I'm like, I've already read this because I read so much. Right.
Yeah.
But classically, here is an old, like I said, this is an old, I don't know what this is, probably from the 70s or 80s. There's nothing. They don't have anything except for page numbers. So the running headers are going to include like something like that. Some people do their chapter titles on top, but page numbers, I do page numbers on bottom.
What about a subliminal message like buy the next book in this series as the footer?
It's a style choice.
Okay. All right. So I mean, best advice is always to follow the genre. And, as we get into the next little point of importance, you want to make sure you're doing what others in your genre are doing. I jest about putting a subliminal message in there. So another thing is a font that will reproduce well. And you're going to want to pick a font that's genre specific, possibly, right?
Yeah, I do. I did a bunch of research. I know these are little things, and you might think, gosh, no one cares about that. But again, just like when we talked, you have to watch our episodes where we talk about book covers and about how you don't want to be so unique that you don't fit in. You kind of want to blend in with your genre. I feel like the same thing with this kind of stuff is that if I am, for example, I read historical romance all the time, and it's usually a serif type of font. If I were to come into this book, it'd be Comic Sans, or even like I don't know, Tahoma or something that might please, no matter what your genre is, do not use Comic Sans. But like you might use something like Tahoma, maybe if it's more of a contemporary, whatever, it would be jarring to me. It would feel like this. I immediately would feel like I'm not going to enjoy this book. There's going to be something in me. I might give it a try still, but it's those little things. You don't want someone to turn away from your novel for these reasons that,
It's kind of like, when you're watching a movie, you don't realize there's music in the background most of the time. But if you were to watch it without the music, you would completely notice. And I feel like the fonts are like that, because a thriller font and a sci-fi font is different than a romance font. It's different than a fantasy font because it lends to the feeling that you get when you're reading the book, the way that the music in a movie lends to like the suspense. They play like short, choppy stuff when like the killer's about to get somebody, and it lends to the whole overall experience.
Yes, I agree. I just grabbed this book off too. It's nonfiction versus fiction is also something to think about. Look at how there's some things that are bolded. There's some like little check mark things and stuff because it's a nonfiction. Don't bold anything in your fiction. Don't bold it. Like if you think like, oh, I'm going to make I don't know, whatever, just don't do it.
So I guess in a way you are giving subliminal messages with these choices that you're making. You're really saying my book deserves the respect of, the best author out there with fancy editors and things like that by paying attention to these small details.
Right.
Okay, so now you've made those other decisions and it's time to get down to what's called front matter, not to be overlooked. There's something called a title page and then another whole page called a copyright page. I'm sure most authors are familiar with dedications and acknowledgments, but let's talk about these other two pages.
So my title page is literally just my title. I take my logo for the series and I take the font image that I have that's on the cover and I just put it there and then I put my name and then I have my publishing company. It's just a black and white, very simple. Let's look at an old book, see if they did it. See, here we go. Same thing, a little bit different from the 80s or 70s, however old this book is. So that's what a title page is. So you have to prepare.
Go ahead.
You have to prepare any images, which these look like they're just typed in, but these are actually images so that they will match my cover. So you have to prepare this kind of stuff before you start doing your layout.
I just want to know, what is the point of that page? Is it from the olden days when there was a chance of possibly losing the cover that you would want to still have that information on the first page of the book? Does anybody have any idea?
Nope. No? I don't know. But it looks good and everybody does it. So
it does look beautiful. It really does. And I think that's probably it. I think that if something were to happen to the cover and it were to fall away in the olden days, I bet you that's why that started. But now everybody just expects it. And then the next page is a copyright page. Does it only have the copyright, Jen?
Mine does. It's on the very bottom of a left-hand side page. And the reason why I put it there is because that's what Vellum tells me to do. So again, if you use a software that is meant to do this, a lot of this guesswork will be taken care of you. I don't even have to write this. Vellum knows what it needs to say. They know my name. They know what year I'm doing. Like they take care of all of that for me. I'm not saying you have to use Vellum, but there are, like I said, there are some free options out there, but if you don't know, look at a bunch of books and then, or there's online resources of how to do it, but it goes on a left-hand side page at the bottom like that. Super simple, just little, but it's necessary for your book.
I wish I had my book right here that I could show everyone because it's just a little bit different than yours. It's still on that left-hand page, but I have like a whole paragraph because I quote the Bible a lot. Yes. And so I have like a copyright thing about which Bible I use and the copyright information for.
Ooh, I should probably be doing that too.
Yeah.
Ooh, see, this is why we have it with friends.
I forget where I got that advice, but
yeah,
I do
good advice.
Like, and I went to the Bible that I use. I went to their website and they have like a paragraph that you can copy and paste and put in there. You don't have to make it up.
Since mine's historic, I think we did have this conversation. I looked it up, but I could be wrong. Look it up for yourself. But but I have to use the King James because there weren't all these other translations back then. And
And I believe that's not copyrighted.
it's not anymore. So,
Yeah.
okay. And then the
Well,
next
this
page is, oh, sorry.
I just want to bring up right now, please do not quote songs or books or movies or anything in your book. Change it right now. Stop everything and change it, because you may think it's no big deal to quote a favorite line from the Beach Boys song that's so popular, but that is a copyright infringement. Don't do it. Okay. Anyway, moving
I
on.
agree.
But you can say the title of the song.
Yes.
Mhm.
You can say, oh, she was singing, this song from the Beach Boys. You just can't put the lyrics.
My books, I do have some lyrics, but they are from hymns that are common, they're no longer
Public
copyrighted.
domain.
They're public
Mhm.
domain. And in book 4, they do talk about books, which are probably public domain at this point anyway, but I don't quote anything. They just talk about the book. I don't even have them say the name, because literally, if we're sitting here having a conversation, we're not gonna be like, yes, can we please read that book we were reading last night, which is just called Peter and Wendy. They're not gonna do that. They're like, let's get back to Peter and Wendy.
Mhm.
So that's how I handle it. Then the next page is your dedication. You don't have to do dedication, but if you're going to, you have to have that all written before you go to do your layout, because it's going to be a page that you have to plan for. So,
Okay, so that's front matter. Now we need to concern ourselves with
Can I just
back matter.
add one little caveat that I do know there are some people that put the come to sign up for my newsletter or that kind of stuff in the front instead of in the back.
I do.
And some people do it both. They put it in the front and the back. So I just wanted to mention that before we move on. Sorry.
Yep.
Where do you have it, Jen?
I have it after my cover title page, and then before the copyright. It's on the other side of the copyright page. I have it right there. Boom. Because I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to get somebody on my newsletter list.
Okay, so the back matter has call to action and mailing list on it, but that's not in the back of your book. So it's kind of a misnomer, or like is back matter in the back of your book? Like,
yes.
Is that why it's called that? But your call to action is in the front of your book. So that one's optional where you put it?
I think I have it in both places.
Okay.
It can be either or, like Tina said. It could be either place.
Okay.
But again, you have to make this decision before you go to do the interior of your book, because you got to plan out the pages and what you're going to put there. So,
and it's how they have like the 7 points of contact thing in sales. I feel like if you put it in the front and it like brings to mind, oh, they have a newsletter that I could sign up for, and then you remind them again at the back, like they've been told ahead of time. Yeah. And now you're reminding them. I feel like that's more powerful. That's just my opinion. I'm not a marketing expert, but
I 100% agree with that, because if I pick up a book and in the front of it, it says join my newsletter, I'm not joining then, because I have not read your work. But by the end, if it's a good book and you remind me again that you have a newsletter and I can get something free from joining it, that's when I'm going to pull the trigger on that. So I agree with that too. So I'll just go through quickly what I have in the back of my book, what's called the back. So the back matter is everything. Not this. This is your blurb, not what goes on the back of the cover, but the back of the interior is what we're talking about, is interior. So the back of mine, I have a preview for the next book, because you just finished the book. You have all the good feels. You're like, yay, I love this book. What? It doesn't end here. So I have like the first 10%. You can for ebooks, you can put 10% of the next book in your ebook before Amazon has a problem with it. So I have 10% of the next book, sometimes less. I feel like I want to leave them in a place where they're like wanting more. And then I personally do acknowledgments. This is where I do my thank yous to people that helped me, that I wouldn't be able to have gotten this book out there if it wasn't for them. Then I have my bio. It's just a little thing with my little picture on it right there. I don't put my picture on the back of my cover. Some people do. Mine's right there. And like where they can find me, other places. And then I have a list of what the other books are that I have that they can. Look, in case they picked up book 3 and then, oh my gosh, there were 2 books before this, then it lists it out. When I have more books, it'll also have all the different series there too. But And then that's it. That's what I put at the end of my book. And when publishing, sometimes Amazon or English Spark or whatever will have something on the last page that they have to put in there, but that's not anything I have to worry about. That's what I put in my back matter.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, you've pointed out it really is great when you use some of these tools like Vellum, Atticus, or Readsy, because they kind of hold your hand through this. So just, step by step walk through it, reach out to us if you have any help. But now we're going to talk about actual formatting. This next point, reflowable versus fixed layout. So this is interesting. Does that sounds like something that would be an ebook concern? Is that also a print book concern?
I would say that's a great question. Because again, I use software that takes care of all this for me, so I don't have to worry about it. But if you're going to do it by yourself, the difference is reflowable is when somebody's in the ebook for sure. If somebody changes the size of the font, everything just continues to flow. But if you have like a fixed layout, is more for like nonfiction. If you have pictures, you don't want like things to get like all wonky or whatnot. So people they might be able to change the size of the font possibly, but it won't change the things that you need to stay the way that they are. Children's books is another thing. Like you want a fixed layout for children's book. You don't want somebody to be able to, like, if I take it from my Kindle to my like laptop Kindle, it to like look weird because it's a different size reader. You want everything to stay like.
And a lot of times in children's books, the font and the words are part of the illustration. So like my granddaughter likes Llama Llama Red Pajama, and it has like the words across the artwork. Like starts small, gets bigger, and gets bigger as the llama gets more upset. So you wouldn't want that to change because somebody wanted a different font size.
Right.
It sounds to me like a PDF versus a Word doc. Like, how Word documents can kind of jump around and move around. But if you save it as a PDF, there it is, forever frozen in time. And that's how you often want to save your resume, so that the things don't move around and get jumbly. So that's a good way to think about it. And it does seem like it's a ebook concern more than a print book concern, because once it's printed, it's stuck that way.
Right.
But I'm wondering, okay. And so now there's the issue of file formats. Do you need one version of all of these file formats? I see 3 listed here. Well, technically 4. We've got EPUB, which is an electronic publication, obviously. Then a MOBI file, or a docx. And docx, that's an old WordPerfect term, isn't it? So what are the different applications for these formats?
So docx is actually Word, like it's a document Word, like that's what the term they use now. So it might have been a WordPerfect thing back in the day, but now it is.
I meant Word.
Okay.
I'm aging myself with WordPerfect.
So we'll start over. EPUBs, that's just the industry standard. That's how that's the format you need to create so that you can have a ebook, whether it's for a library, Amazon, Apple Books, Mobi, and then this other one that was on here that I don't need to mention. Those are outdated. It used to be that for everyone else you needed an EPUB, but for Amazon you needed a Mobi file. Again, if you're using software, it takes care of all of this for you, but you don't need to worry about Mobi anymore. If you've been doing this for a while, or you've taken a break and you're coming back to publishing, you only need to do EPUBs now, which is great. Like, thank you for making this more simple, because there's so many things that are not simple. And then for the Word doc, the docx, I do not write in Word. We talked about this last night in our sprint with our Patreon. I used to write in Word, and I would put it over to Scrivener and organize it and whatnot. And then one fateful Nano, I lost like 25,000 words because Word decided to crash, and I thought it was backing up to my cloud, and it didn't. And I walked away from that Nano. I just stopped. I'm just done. I'm not even doing this Nano. And so I learned my lesson. I don't do that anymore. But you still need, for lots of publications, you still need to have it formatted into a docx. Again, most softwares that you would use will put it into that format for you. So
Yeah, and I know that Scrivener does that, because that's what I
yes.
use to make both the EPUB and the docx documents.
Okay, and then the last component of ebook formatting is your navigation. This is how readers can pick up where they left off, sort of a thing, right? So we're talking about the table of contents here, chapter headings and page breaks. And now I know, Jen, you're careful about how you format those with your romance genre, and every genre might have something a little bit different. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I do use Scrivener. I've been writing in Google Docs during our sprinting this month. It's just kind of easier, and I've learned how to, organize in one document every day that I'm writing, and I can go to I've made a menu to where I can click on it and it'll take me to like certain days, or like Marnie's story or Widows of the West or whatever. But ultimately, I use Scrivener and go back in. No matter where I type, I go back into Scrivener. And here's why. It's because Scrivener takes care of all of the hashtags you need at the end of a scene, or end of this terminology means it's the end of a chapter. And it takes care of all of that for you if you put all your stuff in there. Then when you create the Word doc that you need to be able to upload it into Vellum, all that stuff's taken care of for you. But I will say that I think something I might try. I heard another author talking about that they just use Vellum as their word processing software. They just write straight in Vellum, and I'm like, that's not a bad idea. So I might try that maybe for one of my contemporary books that are going to be a little bit shorter and whatnot. But again, I know you probably feel like you're being nickel and dimed with all this, like you need to use this software and that software. But there are some of these software that I really feel like you just need to invest some money into your career. Scrivener is a very inexpensive one. There are other options out there. Like we talked about, Readsy now has this new one that they're really trying to promote this month of November. I've not tried it yet. I might go over there this month and give it a try. But they take care of some of the headache for you. And Vellum is an investment. I know that's a pretty sizable investment, but the piece that it has brought my life. I remember when Jamie and I first became friends and we first were trying to like publish and stuff, and Jamie was putting something out and she was using, I don't remember what it was you were using, Jamie. And it was like, you were ready to like pull every single last strand of your hair out. Do you remember this? We were on the phone with each other and you're like, I don't know why it won't work. And it was an ebook formatting thing and it was not going well. And I don't ever have that problem with Vellum. So I know it feels like that it's a nickeling diming thing, but I will say, make friends with somebody who owns Vellum. It's that simple, because they can just throw it into Vellum for you and do it.
And we should probably mention that Vellum only works on a Mac unless you want to do the Mac in Windows? Like there's some kind of application that you can do it on a reg, but it makes it really small and it's not as easy to use, in my opinion.
It is a workaround. I used to do it. I did it for my first 2 books, and then I bought a Mac, an inexpensive Mac. I bought a Mac Air off of Marketplace, and it did great because Vellum is a very small piece of software. I've learned this from my friend who's a software engineer. He was amazed at like how light it was, he called it. But yes, and that's why Atticus came out, because people didn't want to do the workaround and they had PC products. So, and like we said, there are some other free options that are online, and there's some really good websites out there that are great for authors. So,
yeah.
Okay, we've talked about most of those DIY tools. The last thing we kind of missed, what metadata is baked into your file? That was the last piece of the inside formatting business. So is that anything to be concerned about, or it's going to be automatic for you?
Baked into it, I'm not really sure. That's a really good question. I didn't realize that we talked about it. I missed that part of the outline. Sorry, guys. I know that with metadata, this is a whole nother thing, that before you hit publish, you need to do some research, because when you go to Amazon or any of the other publishing places, that they're going to ask you for they can give you option, put metadata in, and there are resources out there to help you with this. But again, it's just, we can't cover it in this episode, that's a whole nother episode that we probably should bring an expert in to talk on, but it's something that you have to deal with before you hit publish. So after you're doing all these things we're talking about, then you're going to have to face metadata before you can hit publish.
Okay, so any last words on DIY tools? And what about outsourcing this? What if I find somebody on Fiverr who's offering to do it for me?
I've not had great luck with Fiverr. I know a lot of people who have. So with other things, so it's possible. I think you're better off being part of a great writing community like we are here, that we have here. I mean, if you were in any of our Patreon salons or had met anyone through our Patreon, I guarantee there's going to be people in there that have vellum that would say, hey, I'll throw it into my vellum and I'll format it for you if you will. And then you trade the work out. Like Jamie and I have traded work back and forth with each other and not had to pay for things that other authors would have to. So that's what I would suggest, but you could do that. And
hey, I'll just put this out there. If you can write me a really good blurb for my book, I'll format your book in my vellum.
It's a great exchange right there.
Because I hate writing the blurb.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's a community. That's what you need. Number one.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to have another episode about the actual distribution piece because we're running short on time. So we're going to move on to the feeding of the backs. And what this is we write for 15 minutes to a prompt and then we share them live without editing. Jen, what did you write this week?
Okay, so for those of you that have somehow missed it, which would be very easy since it was kind of a last minute thing, we in quotes have decided to start a challenge this month, which is just a sprinting challenge. And so if you can join it for free by going to our website, christianindywriters.net, and there's a link there that you can join it. But if you want to be part of our Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you can join us every evening at 8 p.m. On the weekends, it's at 8 a.m. And you can sprint with us and we will share with a prompt with you. And we are having so much fun over there. So we actually wrote last night to the prompt, and so did all of our patrons that were there with us. And last night's prompt was unanswered prayers, a prayer that wasn't answered the way expected. And so I know I said I was going to be writing for fun this month and writing in Marnie's world, but I'm back in. This one was a Widows of the West prompt. I just could not help it. So here we go. God doesn't answer my prayers. The words were out before Colleen could stop them. It was one thing to think that the Lord had abandoned you, but saying it out loud and to someone that you had zero trust in somehow felt more real, as if verbalizing what she believed to be true actually made it true. Maybe your prayers just didn't align with God's will, Cade said softly. The tenderness in his voice caught her off guard, but it wasn't how he said it, but rather what he said that brought her protective barriers to snap back up between them. Was it God's will that my husband cheat on me? Was it his will that my husband abuse me, scar me for life? Your husband, is he the one that put those scars on your arms that you try to keep covered up? When she didn't answer, he nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am, I saw him. Her breath hitched. It was none of this man's business what Denny did to her, and he certainly had no right making her feel things she had buried long ago. I have scars only God can see, Mr. McDaniel. Cade shook his head. No, ma'am. God doesn't see the scars when he looks at you. He sees the woman beneath the scars, the one he calls daughter. Cade McDaniel grabbed his hat off the table and walked toward the door. He turned back and said, Maybe, Mrs. McGuire, it isn't that the Lord didn't answer your prayer. Maybe he just answered it in a way you wasn't expecting. And then he turned and walked out the door.
You're muted, Jamie.
I said, "Oh, bummer, it's over."
I know
I was
so
really
short.
enjoying that. I know. I wanted more.
And I love the whole idea behind, like, she feels like she's too scarred up for God to hear her, and he's speaking truth into her. Like that. I don't know. That just makes my Bible study teacher heart happy.
Aw, thanks. Christy says, Sadie says, wow, so much tenderness. Thank you, Sadie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really good. It's good to see characters that aren't just flat in spiritual literature. I feel that there's got to be some dimension and some pushback against the trite advice that people sometimes give you when you're suffering.
Yeah, I thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, this was good. It felt good to write that scene, honestly. So,
All right.
all right, Jamie, what did you write?
Oh, it's terrible, but
Are
whatever.
you gonna tell your story?
Yeah. So I started sprinting, and I was like literally 6 minutes in because I checked the timer, and there was still 9 minutes, and I'm just like, and there was a little AI prompt that said, "Write this for me." So I clicked it just to see what it would do, and I hated what it said. Anyway, I was like, tra la la, and then I'm like, oh no, this has got to be read on the podcast tomorrow. So I started all over.
Because we've been sprinting every day. So like sometimes you sprint and it's like, it's okay if it's garbage because no one's going to read it. You've written, right? Your brain is flowing. That's the whole goal. But last night was the one that we had to air today and you'd forgotten that.
I'd forgotten that. And so I was just fiddling around. So anyway, here's what you get on take 2. Sure wish it would stop raining forever. What kind of thing is that to say? I don't know. It just seems like you're never satisfied. If it's a sunny day, you complain you're too warm. If it's a drizzly day, you want to wish the rain away. Sheila was silent for several minutes as they walked on. Your pace is slowing. Bernard was right. His comments had thrown her off, and they were no longer speed walking through the empty mall, but were rather moseying through it. You should be happy enough. Or, hold on. You should be happy enough. You say I'm always the one complaining, but it's you who's always complaining that I walk too fast. You're not wrong. Sheila fumed and picked up her pace. Who is he to call her a complainer? She heard his breathing intensify and was glad for it. He deserved to be put through his paces after a comment like that. A man stepped out of the hallway that branched out on their left and led to a bank of restrooms. Stop right there. Sheila and Bernard both stopped. Down there, the man gestured down the hallway with a hand in a pocket of his coat. The shape the coat made over his hand indicated he was holding some sort of weapon. Sheila uttered a little cry. Don't go, she. I mean it, the man said. We won't. Sheila, run. He grabbed her by the shoulder and spun her, then pressed against her back as he took off running himself. Sheila was screaming now, although she was only vaguely aware of the shrill sounds and made no connection of them in her own physical form. All she was the pounding of her sensible walking shoes on the hard tile and Bernard's hand on her back, and the certainty that at any moment she would hear the sound of a gunshot. But no gunshot came, and she and Bernard rounded the next corner and crashed through the exit doors. You okay? Bernard asked, turning to see if they were being pursued. Yes. No, I don't know. Where are we? So then I was going to be like, they didn't know where they were, what parking lot, whatever. But then the timer ran out.
Jamie. I was all along with it. Oh, like they're fighting and it's a walk. And I'm like, oh, it feels like it's Genesee Valley. So then my mind is like, it's Genesee Valley, which is a mall near us, you guys. And Jamie used to live near us. And I'm just like, my mind is like, just kind of like on this walk with this elderly, this couple or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm never going to Genesee Valley again, girl. Just kidding, which I probably won't anyway because it's almost closed down. But yes, that was so good. Like it was so real. But
I also pictured Genesee Valley. But the bathroom hallway to come out on the left, you'd have to be walking on the wrong side. So, like in my mind, they were walking on the wrong side.
Yeah, that's how.
Just like Sheila. Yeah. Just like Sheila to walk them down the wrong side.
that was great. I love how different this is for you too. Like I feel like the couple walk, if that is you, but like someone like gonna like risk their, like I don't know, the gun in the pocket, like you had me, girl. Like whoo. Like I thought for sure he was going down. I thought he was gonna like sacrifice his life for her. So good job.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
I also was waiting for the gunshot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
What do you have for us, Bambina?
Well, I've been working most of my sprints. I've been working on a nonfiction book that I'm writing, and so it's really hard to make your mind to go back and forth between fiction and nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what our good, sweet friend Rhonda Hagerman would call creative nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The sunset painted the water crimson, and a soft breeze carried the faint scent of lilacs to my nose. The kids had just climbed out of the pool, all hunched shoulders and blue lips, insisting they weren't cold as I shooed them inside to get ready for bed. I could hear their laughter rolling down the stairs and out the French doors. It was a perfect night, and my soul was filled with contentment. I heard my husband holler up the stairs, "Make sure you use soap." It must be the littlest one getting in the shower. Always had to check up on that rascal. Make sure he was wet and smelled clean when he came out of the shower. My oldest and the only girl came bouncing out in her pink nightgown with a brush in her hand. "Will you braid my hair?" I nodded as she sat in front of me. I ran my fingers over her thick honey brown strands, being careful to work up from the bottom with the brush and not pull too hard on any snarls. She chattered on as I worked, excited for the first day of school, verbally listing off all the friends she knew were in her class this year, wondering out loud who she'd sit by and if there would be any new kids. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. It was hard to believe how fast she'd grown and that she was starting to notice boys. Before I knew it, she'd be out of the house, off and married and raising kids of her own. I pushed the thought away. There'd be plenty of time to think about that later. Tonight, I just wanted to soak up every bit of them I could. The middle child came out and lay on the bench seat in his pajamas. "I can see the Big Dipper," he announced, "and there's Orion's belt." The little one came out then, a blanket wrapped around him, his hair still wet, and sat beside me, resting his head on my shoulder. "Don't fall asleep out here," I teased. "You're getting too big to carry, and I'll have to leave you out here with the raccoons." "Yeah, right," he said. Apparently he was much too grown to be fooled by my teasing. "Are you listening?" the oldest said, indignant. "I said, Tiffany has a boyfriend, and she'll probably just ignore me. Who will I sit by at lunch?" I smiled at my little social butterfly, though she couldn't see it, and said, "I'm sure you'll find somebody to sit with." And then the time went off. So I never got to the prompt, but that's what it prompted. So.
Oh, that is so good. That's the beauty of prompts, is like sometimes you're just working toward it and you get something beautiful without even getting to the prompt. So as someone who knows your 3 kids, you didn't have to tell me that was creative nonfiction. Like that's 100% your kids. And that's just awesome. Yeah, I loved it. I felt all warm and cozy inside as you're reading it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really captured the simple moments, the "you're going to miss this" part of all of the crazy of raising kids for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff.
It's very easy for moms to, turn on the camera and vent when it's been a day, but to really remember these moments is important also.
Yeah, because I'm like in the next stage of life where my daughter has gotten married and had a little daughter, and my son, the little one in that story, has a daughter too, and that's my granddaughter Athena, who's 8 years old now. So it's just like, just looking back at those years, and wish I had taken more time to just soak them in.
Yeah, there's a thing called what is it called? Like mother mourning or something. It's like where moms start to mourn the loss of their children's childhood while their children are kind of still with. And I experienced that big time a couple of years ago when my oldest was a senior in high school. I was I literally obsessed over, I wish I could go back in time. I wish I had done this differently. I wish I had been more blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you, now that she's a sophomore in college, like you do every stage. Like I do miss them as little kids and I wish I could do that. But I also just really love this stage too, and so I love watching you as a grandma and seeing how how you've blossomed in this stage too. And this writing made me feel all of that.
Yeah, because grandchildren are 100% everything.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Like I raised those kids and went all through that just for the grandchildren.
My grandpa was a preacher.
I didn't know that then, but
I know my grandpa was a preacher, and he used to always say, if he didn't know the grandkids were going to be this much fun, he'd have had them first.
Exactly.
Yep. Good job, Tina.
Exactly. Thanks.
Okay, so real quick, what's up and what's next with you ladies? Jen?
So continuing the writing, I have sprinted every single day. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud
Yay.
of everybody that is doing this challenge. It's been so much fun. I'll tell you, there have been lots of times that I'm like, oh, at 7 o'clock, I'm like, I just want to go to bed. And because we've scheduled an 8 o'clock sprint. But let me tell you, I get so busy during my day that if I didn't have this scheduled, I probably wouldn't be writing every day. Like if we didn't set
Mm-hmm.
this up, and then I get there and I have so much fun because like all my friends are
Mm-hmm.
there. And
Mm-hmm.
so I am continuing to sprint. I'm also behind the scenes working on some fun stuff. The ladies and I are working on some things for December for our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for that. But yeah, just continuing to sprint and yeah, it's exciting. What about you,
Yeah,
Jamie?
I'm also sprinting every day. Hooray, because I haven't been much of a writer except for on Fridays, so that's different and looking forward to the rest of it. Tina, how about for you?
I have not sprinted every day, but I took so many notes during my conference that I went to last weekend that I'm counting it.
Yeah, I
Because I
Mm-hmm.
would.
have pages that I wrote. Also, the hotel we stayed at was a Holiday Inn. I don't know if that means anything, but in the little breakfast area, they had this machine. And when you put your little coffee cup under and push the button, it grinds the beans for one cup of coffee and then it brews it. And that was like the best coffee. I was like, this is so good. So,
Mhm.
being the spoiled brat that I am, and it being my birthday this week, I bought myself one of those machines.
Good for
Not
you.
not the size that they had in the hotel
Right.
breakfast area, but like that it makes like one cup at a time, and it grinds the beans and brews it.
So jealous. I want one that's an espresso machine that grinds it for you, which are way more the money than I want to spend right now. But yeah,
I think
someday
you
I'm
can
getting
do
one.
that with this because you choose how long you want it to grind the beans for.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And you choose the amount. It goes from 6 to 14 ounces,
Mhm.
and you can have it grind the beans like up to 30 seconds, I think.
That's
So the
awesome.
longer it grinds, the smaller. So then they would have espresso if you chose 6 and then you put enough beans in there and had to grind it longer.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you did that for yourself. You deserve it, Tina.
So I was a happy camper this morning while I was drinking my coffee with my eyes closed and going, oh, this is so good. I will never go back to my Keurig ever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I honestly I have a Keurig that does a whole pot of coffee and then it has and
Yeah, I have that too.
I only do the whole pot. But I will say it brews a really good pot of coffee. But I also would fresh grind my beans, but my grinder broke. So I've been having to buy pre-ground coffee. And you can tell the difference. If you're not a coffee person, you don't know, but since we're talking about coffee, I'm going to say, first of all, the Christmas cup is back. I don't care. I know it's before Thanksgiving. Guess what? It still tastes the same whether the tree is up or not. But I today made myself my first peppermint mocha, iced peppermint mocha, and because I found a recipe. It's so good. It is a chocolate protein drink, which is what I've been doing in my coffee anyway. In coffee, an extra tablespoon of cocoa powder. I put sweetener in it too. Like I use stevia glycerite, and then it called for a half a teaspoon of peppermint extract. I did that. Next time it's going to be a quarter teaspoon because I really feel like I'm eating a York peppermint patty as I'm
Oh,
drinking this. So if you like that, which I don't mind it, like use a half. I'm going to back off to a quarter or less just to get that pepperminty flavor. But I love this so much. I've been so much like I can't wait to get off of here and I'm gonna go do some more Christmas decorating. I just feel like I'm so in the spirit right now. But coffee, yeah, I know. Like some people say you shouldn't drink coffee, but I only do it
yeah,
once a
but then
day.
there are
But
studies that show that it's good for you at the same time. And
yeah,
I only drink that one cup a day. It's not like I'm drinking it all day long. And
right.
that's my one thing that makes me really happy. And I'm going to keep doing it.
I only drink 1 cup a day too, but the cup is this big.
Yeah.
So
Well, I did brew 14-ounce cup of coffee this morning.
uh,
So like if a cup is 8 ounces, like that's almost 2 cups. So there
yeah,
we go.
no. I do more than 8 ounces.
Yeah.
But you know what? I also mix decaf and right. So like I try to be
And I
smart.
make my own homemade coffee creamer. So it's like I put extra
Mm,
vanilla in there. It's like,
mm. It really does make a difference instead of just buying coffee creamer, which is full of chemicals and full of stuff. This is not a health show. Sorry, guys. But this is just me and Tina having a conversation that you get to listen
Yeah,
to.
we forgot you were there.
We forgot you were here. But just actually going down to the ingredients and like using real vanilla, or like I know that those protein drinks are not the cleanest. There's lots of cleaner options out there, but they're easy for me to get. They're pretty tasty. And I'm getting, so this is like 30 grams of protein that I'm drinking this morning with that. So keep the protein, especially at this age. At our age, we got to make sure that our muscles, we don't lose muscle.
I have a big thing of protein powder, chocolate protein powder I bought at Sam's Club. And then I don't like it. I don't like the way it tastes.
Oh, so do you mix it in your coffee? Have you tried that?
Yeah.
I don't like these shakes all right. So I don't like the chocolate shake by itself. When I added the extra cocoa powder, and then I like it. So maybe if
I'll try that. Maybe I'll get some peppermint extract and try that.
And
I've been putting it in the frother with my creamer and like frothing it into my stuff before I put it in my coffee.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I also have
it has like a little aftertaste. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, so this chocolate I feel like has an aftertaste that I'm not crazy about, but the extra, it wasn't chocolatey enough. Like we put that extra chocolate in there, the cocoa powder. Thumbs up. So
awesome.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us and for staying for this little chat. If you would still like to join our Patreon, it's not too late. We would love to have you over there to sprint with us the rest of the month. Today's the 3rd. Yeah. We still have 17 more days left. Good math.
And we didn't mention the Q&A that our book coach, Elise, is doing after the Saturday morning sprint.
Yes, she is. After every Saturday morning sprint, she's doing a live Q&A, and there's only 2 of us that were there, and the other person was Teresa Thomas, and she didn't really have a lot of questions, so we literally just talked through my book, and it helped me a lot. Like we talked about some of my plot points, and I came away from that excited. So please come. If you're already a patron, join us. We're going to sprint at 8 a.m. on Saturday, but at 9 a.m. we're there with Elise, and bring questions. Or even if you don't have any questions, show up and we'll just start talking about your book. And it'll be amazing to have when you hear a book coach asking you questions and getting you deeper into your story, the things that it unlocks. So thank you so much.
Highly recommend.
Yes. Thank you for being such a supporter. She's also giving away, for those that are participating, we're going to do a drawing at the end of the month when you can get a free 15,000 word book coach. Like she's going to book coach it up for you. And she's adding in a coupon for book coaching or editing services that for everyone who participates. So it's well worth for $5. It is well worth what you're going to be getting out of this. So, and you help support this podcast and this community that we're trying to grow. So
yeah,
the Patreon link is in our show notes. And yeah, so if there's nothing else, I will say that until next week, may your pen be prolific and your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye, friends.